Pop in, say hi. If you've never come into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And this is my second show that I do here on YouTube. And in all actuality, this is the first live show that I do here on YouTube. I started this channel in 2014. I know I'm in my 10th year on YouTube. And that's okay with me. You know what I mean? I am not in a race with anybody, right? Though sometimes I'd like to think that I'm a little bit of a race myself. But I know sometimes that when we rush through things, we don't do a very good job in all aspects. Most of all, we don't do a very good job with ourselves, and it's and in that beating ourselves up, you know, uh, making ourselves do things that, well, it is important to step out of our comfort zone, but sometimes it's in those extremes, right? In those extremes that shock our systems. I like to do the baby steps. I like to take things in, right? In small doses, chew on it, right? Do a little pondering, contemplation. And I like to talk to people about these things and see, where their heads are at. And, here on YouTube, I have my second live show. It is What's My Good Cheer? And in What's My Good Cheer? It's a lot of movement forward. It's a lot of working in emotions. And, I'm so grateful for this second live show, that I have this live show, that it makes it possible for me to draw in a little bit different audience, but also at the same time be able to, what is it, to make friends, to really get to know people, to spend a little bit of time, you know, in doing those things in baby steps. Because, for me, those major relationships in my life were pretty instant. I knew they were perfect for me when they happened to cross my path. And, I recognized that it was just as recognizable to the other parties. And it's happened to me more than a few times. And it gets my curiosity, and it makes me, right, ponder. It makes me delve into and thinking, well, what do they see that I don't see, right? And, sometimes it's in that reflection of other people that we get to recognize how amazing we truly are, and I don't think I'd even come close to even having a fraction of that recognition if it wasn't for my audience here on YouTube. Hello, Andrew. Hello, Kathy. I hope you guys are having an amazing week. Let me know what the weather is like where you're living right now. I'm not even gonna I said, oh, Cindy, don't even bother splashing water on your face and refreshing yourself a little bit. You're just gonna be a sweaty mess in a couple of minutes anyway. So instead I took that time and I made a cup of coffee. Let's have a sip of my coffee. One thing I do is I make really, really good coffee. Really good coffee. You know, I have my favorite brands that I like for coffee. But sometimes, it's the moment that you're in, that you're at a 7-Eleven store, you're not at the grocery store. Sometimes there's no sales going on, so none of those ones that rank in the top 10 of your favorites right? They're not on the shelf. So those are the days that I try new brands out. I don't try new brands out in any other time. It's just when I can't get something on sale and I can't get the brand, one of the brands that I like in the moment. Then what I'll do is I'll experiment a little bit. I like experimenting, but I find that, with a crappy tin of no name brand coffee, and I don't drink no name coffee. I consider myself a little bit of a coffee connoisseur. But a coffee connoisseur to my taste. I don't use dairy in my coffee except for when I'm going to the coffee shops because it's easy for me to say two cream, two sweetener, or double double, right? So it's easy for me to do that. I think it would be amazing if they did like the coffee whitener, and that's what I use because I do believe as I've become more mature, I'm a little bit less lactose tolerant. So I have a little bit of lactose intolerance. It does give me an upset stomach, but at the same time, boy, I love ice cream. When it comes to dessert, it's pudding, and pudding is pure dairy pretty much. But I really love custards and puddings, and I haven't had any for a long time. I don't know for you guys what your favorite desserts are. Yeah, it's for me. It's always been that creamy in the desserts. I would much rather. Well, let's if we're gonna get specific, how about a trifle? Whipping cream and jello and pudding and cake and chocolate sauce and I can't even imagine cherries. Yeah, I like desserts. I really do. I got some ingredients a couple of weeks ago to make myself a dessert. I remember when last payday when I got that cookbook and it was for what was the cookbook for? I can't remember the brand, but it doesn't matter what the brand is, but it was sweetened condensed milk. And at Christmas time, I just love the dessert bars and stuff. And I found a recipe book with the sweet condensed milk. So I bought a few things uh, that would work in some of the recipes in those books, and I'm going to have a baking day and see how it goes. But right, it's been a while. We're moving in to the next payroll, and right, I still haven't done anything with it except collect some of those ingredients. Damp hot, stifling in Bloomington. The heat index this afternoon was up at or around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, almost 38 Celsius. We didn't get that high, Andrew. And you have a lot of water in your area too, so that humidity must have been really, really bad. We have a pretty big humidities here in Manitoba because some of those Great Lakes, if you look at the map, and I hope you guys all look at the Canada map, right? Because in September we're going on that trip. And I would like you guys to kind of have an idea of where I'm going, right? And where I'm going to be. And, knowing my landscapes, right? That might be fun. But yeah, take a look. We have our own Great Lakes here in Manitoba. It's not just in Ontario, right? It's in the states. States get half those Great Lakes, half the Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, right? Here in Manitoba, we have Lake Manitoba and we have Lake Winnipeg here, and they are huge, like so huge that you couldn't even see the end of the lake if you tried. And also, just to kind of give you an idea, we get we get waves on our beaches, just like as if you were at the beach in California or in, right, South Carolina or Florida or something. So uh, hello, William. Hello. Yeah, we were just talking about the weather, William. Right? I was saying, I was coming into live. I was just going to say, oh, go to the bathroom and refresh your face, put some water on your face. I'm just coming home from work. I had dinner, made myself a cup of coffee, and now we're live. So happy to be into my set of days off. Mind you, tomorrow will be a busy day. I think tonight I'm going to try and get all my laundry done tonight. Um, and then tomorrow we are paying and booking for our camping spots for our trip. That's going to be a big amount of money. It's going to right. It's going to be a big amount of money. I just try to think, when I see how much this trip actually cost me in the end, I'm going to take a look at places in the world where if I had that money, I could have created an experience, right? But the thing is, the experience I'd like to have are just not the same, right? I know that I'm putting enough money into this holiday in September that would be pretty much I could go anywhere as I wanted if I wanted to, right? I could have created any kind of vacation that I wanted to. And this is the vacation that I wanted. I was kind of serving lots of purposes. I believe in letting the reward. We've got content for at least 14 weeks, at least 10 weeks, you guys, because in the first couple of weeks we'll post a couple of videos each day, but then, right, we'll have content for at least 10 weeks, I would say, after that. And right, it's going to be so amazing. I'm going to do some of the trails now for the first 3 days because I need to get into Ontario. Right, we are. Last time it took me about 33 hours, and I didn't take that many stops. They say it takes 22 hours. I don't know if I'm a granny driver or I did take too many stops, but I think more likely it was the construction. I tend to run into quite a bit of construction when I go on these trips into Ontario in September. So I think a lot of that hold back in the amount of time that it takes me to get to Ontario. I'm going to have to take that into consideration. So I'm going to be on the road for 6 hours a day for the first 3 days just to get me. Well, I'll be in Ontario in a few hours, but Ontario is a big province, right? And because we are doing a bit of a tour, I am doing 10 provincial parks, you guys. I cut it back down. 10 provincial parks, and we're crossing the border into Herkimer, New York, and we're digging for Herkimer diamonds. And the gentleman, it's going to cost me, I think, $150 altogether for a day dig in the tailings, and then it's $25 for membership for his mine because it's on his farm. And then he's going to take me up into the mountains, which is his land, on his quad, and he's going to leave me there. And then he's going to come and pick me up. But the best part of that is I get to camp for free uh, while I'm, right, having an outing, and an experience and an adventure. And, right, making some videos, and it's a lot of time on the road. My only concern is I didn't rush it, right? I made quite a few where the distance from provincial park to provincial park is only 3 or 4 hours, in between those drives. But you guys know, like I'm going to see rock cuts in the highways, and I'm going to see lakes with little beaches with rocks and stuff. I'm going to be stopping and right rock hounding. I'm going to be keeping my eye open. While once tomorrow is the paying for all the campsites tomorrow, now I get to go research the areas that I'm in, right, to see right an abandoned mine, so we can have an urban exploration. We have to have at least one, you guys. So to explore an abandoned mine. I won't go into any mine pits or anything like that, but we'll check out foundations and mine openings or any equipment that's still lying lying around. For the first few days, probably won't get much in the way except for the stops along the way, maybe a quick walk on the trail of each provincial park. I'm not doing any of the same parks except for Quantico, only because I was in such a right rush to get back on the road um, last year that I had to just have a short walk. If you guys remember that video, it was the one with the chicken wire on the boardwalk, and I went on that one. And I said I wanted to come back on the way home, but then I just drove through, right? Because I ran out of money last year, right? I am optimistic that is not going to happen this year, but I had to cancel my trip by one day. I had to shorten it by one day uh, last year because I spent too much money on fridge magnets from the provincial parks. It wasn't that, right? I don't think of when I'm on my trips, it's like there's no, right? No is not allowed. If a thought comes to me, if I want to get out, go for a walk on a trail, right? I might even skip one of my campsites and just find something in Crown Land and just go out in the bush and find my own lake, right? And camp that way. I have no idea. I don't. I've got the whole 2 weeks off. I'm on the road for that entire 2 weeks, and I'm going to enjoy that. But at the same time, right, that idea of let the reward. So I'm making videos, right, for the brand. We're going to have lessons in landscapes instead of me sitting in my chair. Maybe I'll do a couple of podcasts where it's something that I film rather than going live. Probably won't do that. I like with my podcasts. What's my good cheer? I like to go live, just like I like to go live on Sunday nights. It's where I'm comfortable, and it's also good practice for me. And I right, it's good practice for me in carrying on conversations because obviously we're right. I'm trying to follow in the comments what you guys are talking about, and I take breaks in between the jibber jabber that I do. But that's the thing. That's the jibber jabber that I do, right? Me and you are not having this conversation live. I have to make that flow happen, and I'm grateful I don't have to work too hard at making it happen. But how good that is, I don't know, right? Everybody comes back and keeps me company on Sunday night, so that can't all be a bad sign. I'm just keeping an eye on my weather on my big picture window. If you see me just kind of looking off, the clouds are rolling in. I don't know when the storms and rain are supposed to happen tonight, but they're supposed to be all night. And when it happens, the temperature is going to drop pretty fast. Usually doesn't take more than a half an hour, and it'll probably drop by 5 degrees. If the temperature drops by 5 degrees, I'm going to open up a window and turn my air conditioner and my fans off. Oh, which I should say, you guys, can you guys let me know How's the sound? Because it's so loud sitting here right now. And I've been pretty lucky that this laptop has been directional in its volume and picking up my voice. But I do have a fan in front of me. You can see my hair blowing. But I also got this big fan behind me, and then of course the motor of this big old air conditioner that's doing its best to keep us cool, right? Not quite managing magnificently, but at least it's something. It could have easily have been, right? 30 degrees in here. Like I said, we didn't get as hot today as it did in Bloomington, Indiana. Wow, 100, you guys. That's really, really, really hot. Um, hasn't it been hot, you guys? That's absolutely, absolutely fine. You guys, you cut yourselves off whenever possible. Just give the heads up on Sharon and Robert, and quite often Nancy, if she doesn't make it into the live show herself. And if she pops in, you guys, tonight, right? Wish her happy birthday. Okay, her birthday's tomorrow. Oh, I'm glad I said something before she come in. She'll be super surprised that we all remembered, right? And we did remember. We'll remember when she comes in to wish her happy birthday. Yeah, the humidity has dropped quite a bit here, but I suspect in the next hour those clouds are starting to look pretty bad. I don't even have my curtain up over the window, and usually at this time the sun is just beaming into my apartment. Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. This has been a really, really good laptop to me. It was really scary, right? $1,000 was a lot of money for me. And it was in the plans, but it was in the loose plans. I had other plans for my income tax return, and I was saving for other things. And just in the spur of the moment, I just said, I need a laptop. Right, I need a laptop. If we're going on this trip, I need to have something strong enough so I can edit my videos, right? And what was so scary about it was ordering it from Amazon, because these Amazon drivers, if you're not home, they'll just send you a text and they'll just leave it leaning up against your door like they did with, right? Because I gave my sister's address because there was no way that laptop would have made it to me in this building. Not a chance. So it had to be in my sister's building. She lives in a good building. It probably would have been fine leaning up against the door, but she was really super nice. And what she did is she left work early, and she went home and grabbed my laptop. But this laptop, I did so much great research on this laptop, not really being technically inclined that way, but I learned so much in the process of, right, um, uh, learning about the RAM, and learning about the graphics, and learning about Windows and Microsoft, and you know in in making my Microsoft account, I really messed it up by using all the same information that I use in my Chrome, and then right, and it won't let me change my email. So my email is the same with my Windows as it is with my Chrome, right? I like the Chrome. I am a Google girl through and through. And yeah, I got lots of RAM, lots of storage on this laptop, so I am not worried at all. And it wasn't difficult. editing my videos once I figured out the editor. Remember, I gave my laptop away to my friend for a week, and I crashed this computer and rebooted it so many times. Yeah. So I'm grateful in the end that it all came back and I figured it out. And I don't have to dish out that money this year, right? Because now I have my laptop for editing, and I also have my editing program, right? And these are the things that I've been trying to do, keeping in mind that I have this trip, so I've been putting extra money on my house bills. Every time I go to the grocery store, I'm picking up something for my trip that I'm going to need, because I don't want to take out all that money and divvy out all that money, right? When that's my fun money for my trip, and now I've got to do the groceries, and now I gotta buy these um, propane tanks, and they're expensive. I got two little fat boys just this big, cost me $15, right? Cost me $15 in Canadian. Right? So they were kind of expensive, and I'm still gonna need another two, because I have two left from last year, and because for the first few days I'm probably just going to stop at a store or live on cheese. Gonna live on cheese and crackers probably for the first few days. I might make breakfasts just to keep me on the road, because it's a long day on the road, or I might make little lunches so that I can, if I stop at a lake or up on a mountain, or I find a nice landscape, that I can sit there and have my lunch. Perfect. Even to when I'm taking this vacation, you guys, in fall, up in the mountains, with all the trees changing color, with the rotting mushrooms smelling up the entire forest. I'm taking my wraparounds for my keen avalanche boots, because remember last year we couldn't do that boardwalk because it was so slimy and it didn't have any chicken wire on it, and we couldn't really get into it. So I'm hoping that possibly that we could get onto some trails that I might not otherwise get onto. I'm also, you guys, right? I have to minimalize, but there are things that I want to do. I want to take my dragon kites, both of them, if at all possible, if I have enough room. I want to take my metal detector, at least one of them, so that I can check if we go into these abandoned mines. That I can check where the town folk, right? Because the miners would have lived quite close to the mine, and find where their bottle dump is. On the norm, if you can find the cemetery, you're probably pretty close to the dump, because in the early 1800s, that's what they did, or the late 1800s, that's what they did, is they always had the dumps pretty close to the cemeteries. Maybe it was so that they, right, when they took things out to the dump, they could stop off and say hi to mom and dad, right, who passed away. Maybe there was odor issues. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning was in that. Maybe because it was both government land and it was parceled off as government land, possibly, right? I have no idea if anybody out there knows. Okay, let me see. Yeah, that's absolutely great, because I am trying to stay comfortable. My eyes are kind of sore only because, right, I got these fans blowing in my eyes, because I've made plans for tomorrow, right? So I've got tomorrow would have been my stay at home, relax over your work week, right? Get things done, the laundry, the dishes, wash the floors, sweep the floors, right? So I did a lot of that today because I didn't start work until noon today. On Sundays, the store doesn't open until noon. So I did a lot of that this morning. But I still have my laundry to do, and I still have my laundry to do. And then I'm ready to just enjoy my days off. And tomorrow, like I said, my friend from British Columbia has come out here to Winnipeg, and she does quite often. I've known I've known Crystal for 40 years. I would have to say I've known my friend Crystal for 40 years. We were actually roommates, and she was actually the only roommate that I really enjoyed living with. We frustrated each other, but we loved each other too, and we always had each other's back. And and to be able, even to be, because she's from BC, we're in Manitoba, right, to keep those friendships going even though you don't get to see each other very often. She tries to come into Manitoba once a year. She does have family here, and I think this year she's got a reunion. But me, my sister, and her, because she was my sister's, Alice's, my second youngest sister, her best friend. But we were packs, right? My sisters and I, we were always friends with each other. For a lot of the time, we were only each other's friends because we never stuck in one place for very long. So, right, in order to have playmates, it would have been our family, right? We didn't have friends over at the house. My parents didn't have their friends over at the house. It was just the family. So it makes sense that, that we were friends. Of course, we all go off and get boyfriends and our own friends, right? But somehow we all come back together again, and we had the most amazing cruise. And they changed a few times over the course of my young adulthood. We won't go back to teenage years, but even back then, my friend groups changed quite often. But that's because, I was always changing schools, right? Yeah, so the temperature's going to drop pretty fast at 9 o'clock. So we'll be just ending our live show. So as long as you don't mind the sound of the fan and the sound of the air conditioner, right? I'd like to keep it on. The rain hasn't started yet, but those clouds are looking like they could drop any moment. I like the rain. I like crazy weather. I the thought just popped into my mind even that maybe at the end of my live show I wouldn't take the umbrella because, right, my umbrella is going to be destroyed just walking out the door. The wind would just pick it up and snap it. But I do have rain jackets, and I can put on a rain jacket and go for a walk in the rain. That would be kind of amazing. Two air conditioners. Aren't you a lucky man, William? Yeah, the crazier for me the weather. I mean, I'm not looking to have tornadoes take down houses or tsunamis or anything, but I do feel the energy of weather, and it's exciting for me. It energizes me. I'm part of Mother Nature, so thinking of it like that, even though I've never thought of it like that before, but thinking of that like now, well, it would make sense that I would get excited in the thunderstorms. And now that I think about it, because I don't like the heat, right? The heat just zaps everything out of me. I don't even want to move. There are quite often that, on my days off, like I'll sit here and I'll just take in lessons for the sake of doing something because I just, right? I'm so zapped that I'm just sitting in my chair. But I mean, right? It's enjoyable. We live in this digital age, but my connection to Mother Nature is important. And I always make sure that I do get out, connect. And I'm with a walking group now, you guys. I joined a walking group. They walk every day, but I committed to them for Tuesdays, right? Because I need that time for myself. I need that time for my brand. That's the whole point of working my schedule around that, right? But also at the same time, I have to connect to Mother Nature. And so I committed to Tuesdays. And the great thing about this group, these are all people that are struggling with mental, emotional, and habitual habits. And each week that I've gone, it's a nice long walk too, right? And sometimes some people go slower or faster than others. But each week I've gone, I've walked with somebody different, and I've connected in really interesting conversations differently. There's a gentleman that was there, um, that I got introduced last week, but I had already partnered up with somebody in conversation, so I knew I was going to be in that walking conversation with them. So I made a mental note because the gentleman who puts the walks on, he said that he pointed out, introduced us, and he says he's not missed a walk yet. He comes every single night. And so what I'll do on Tuesday, because he'll be there, he's never missed a walk. I'm just gonna pull him by his shirt sleeve, and I'm gonna just say, "You're walking with me tonight." That's what I'm gonna do. You're walking with me tonight, and I'll let you guys know next week how it went. Like, seriously, right? I'm not. This is somebody else's show. This is somebody else's give back. It's somebody else's bit of service. But he's happy to have me, and he's grateful for the conversations and the inspiration and the motivation that we bring to the table. And because I worked in hospitality, right, I can keep a conversation going even with just myself, right? And so there is no stall, there is no quietness, and there is no uncomfortableness by anybody who's going to this walk. We're all involved in that moment. It's quite a magnificent. I'm really enjoying it. But Tuesdays is all I can give to that. And well, I could give more, but I don't want to give more than that. I don't want to commit to anything more than that, because that's draining too, because there are exchanges in the moment too, and you never know. In that, I try and feel out those conversations and those people, right? But something that needs to, right, open up or come to the surface, I don't get to pick that. I just saw the lightning go off, you guys, in the background. I just saw the lightning. Watch the light in here and see if you guys notice how really dark it gets in here. It's starting to get dark, but I also saw the lightning go off. It's not raining yet, but I suspect not too long from now. I'm excited for that. May go for a walk just because of the wind. Because, right, who wants to sit in a hot apartment? My air conditioner, it's trying. Right? Grateful for the fans. But yeah, like Andrew. Andrew, what are you doing? Do you have air conditioner? No problem here. I don't hear the fan. Okay, what are you using, Andrew, at home? Are you using an air conditioner? Do you have central air, or are you using a fan, or are you just like just bearing it? Oh, and Kathy too. Man. Yeah, so I guess the whole country's in a bit of a heat wave. We have not had a rainy season here in Canada for a couple of years now. It's been a couple of years, usually June. It's pretty mild. There's lots of rain. Last year, there was hardly none. We pretty much went right into summer last year, and it was hard. And our farmers, they need that water, but we've gotten lots of water, right? We've gotten lots of water already. So I suspect that those crops, right, they'll be ready to harvest another month away. Only a month away. And it's harvest time. Maybe you guys will do we'll do one of those autumn dinners, right? Those fall suppers. I don't know who of you saw those videos that I did. I was doing fall suppers there where you go into these small towns and villages in the rural Manitoba, and at the end of harvest time, they all the wives, they bring their canning, they all make a dish, they have dessert recipe contests and beautiful dessert tables, Chinese auctions, and they put on these amazing dinner and they sell tickets to these, and I really enjoyed. And I went by myself, right? I wasn't even I wasn't even nervous. I had my camera on my tripod sitting in front of me, and I was doing a mukbang. If you guys remember, I was doing a mukbang, and I was having the most amazing conversations with the people around me, eh? Yeah, it was absolutely just an enjoyable time. So I'm thinking maybe I'll take my sister Tracy and we'll do a fall supper, and you guys might be able to get introduced to my sister Tracy and join in on us on a conversation, right? Never done that. I always found it strange how my sister Tracy never made it to my videos and never made it to my content. And yet she's such a big part of my story. But it never worked out that way. And I feel it directed to be that way. But things change all the time. Things change all the time. And you never know in the future of how things are going to open up, how things are going to change, right? A lot of it is just making those choices to get cracking, to get moving, right? Sometimes it's just right, just showing up every single time, keeping your word in that. I never say what time I'm going to show up, except on this live. And I try for 7:30, but by the time I got a thumbnail and my right, I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh, you haven't made your coffee, Cindy. Go get a coffee. Let's have a sip of my lukewarm coffee right now. And actually, today that's a good temperature for me to be drinking my drinking my coffee. I've got some juice here too, and I've got Diet Pop. I got frozen fruit juices in the freezer. I'm gonna make sure that I really hydrate tonight through patterning, you guys. And I don't know if you guys do this, but I notice that my last day of my work week, when I go to bed, quite often I wake up at night with Charlie horses or the feeling like a Charlie horse is going to happen. And I have to jump out of bed and I have to walk around my apartment. I hold on to the back of this chair and I walk in one spot and I work it out, right? Then I try and crawl into bed. But as soon as I get a knee into the bed, if I feel that muscle, right, doing that pitch again, then I just get up and I start walking again. But it's in the patterning that we recognize these things. So I want to make sure tonight, before I go to bed, there are lots of fluids in me. And again, I'll let you know next week, right? If my little experiment worked. and I sleep through the whole night. Might not sleep through the whole night because gain, right? It's hot. But I got that air conditioning. It's blasting in this corner. I'm getting some sleep, but not as comfy as the walk-in freezer. But it is what it is. We work with that. And I'm not complaining because there are people out in the world that don't have that privilege of an air conditioner, and that's the truth. Even if they wanted to, that would be like more than a year's wage in order to get an air conditioner into their home. So right, it's not like it bypasses me, like it doesn't get my attention. I'm quite aware that I live like a queen, right? I have the most I was cleaning my shelves today, right? I haven't done my smalls cabinet. My small cabinet has to be done. I cleared out two shelves in there, so now they have to be dusted, and I'm going to move everything around, rearrange everything. Have to make some room because I'm collecting a lot of smalls. Here, let me show you a small that I got this week. It's so adorable. I just love it. It's sitting up in the window here. It gets to sit here for a couple of days. We put it down here. It gets to sit up in the sun for a couple of days because when I bring it home, I wash all my smalls and I let them soak. But then after I've washed and dried them, I put them up in the window for a couple of days to re energize. And then I open up the cabinet and I say, okay, everybody, new member of the family, play nicely, right? So the one I got today was this cute little turtle, you guys. He's made of clay, right? He's made of clay. But what's so adorable about him, he's got his lily pad. Look at this. Is that just not the cutest small ever? Yeah, so he'll be going in the china cabinet tomorrow. He gets one more day of the sun, and then he goes into my dark cabinet. When I move, I'll make sure my cabinet is near a window, but in the moment we adapt and conquer. Okay, let's come down into the comments here. Oh, good, Andrew. That's good to hear. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen those things. Do they work good, Andrew? Do they work good? And does the heat travel if it's just by under your window? Does the heat travel through the entire apartment? I use a fan when I can. I like to have a fan running partly because the sound is relaxing. Yeah, me too. Me too, Andrew. I have a fan right by my face. It's actually a standing upright fan. What I did is I took the base off the fan, tipped it upside down, tied a rope to the end of it, hung it from my curtain rod over my bed, right in front. It's like, I swear, no more than 2 feet away from my face. And it's magnificent to be able to have. It's like being outside. It's like a breeze, right? And when I don't use it, my cat loves it too. So she'll go and she'll lay on my pillow and she'll enjoy the fan. Right now, she's trying to stay as low to the ground as she possibly can to stay cool. But she knows that this air conditioner, once it starts cooling outside, that the temperature will drop a little bit, and this air conditioner should probably work a little bit better. Um, um, than it has, but it's still showing it's high. It's 80 degrees in here. Pretty hot. That's Fahrenheit. I think this was an American product because there's no Celsius on it, and if it's not an American product and a Canadian product, That means this is from the early, no, late 80s. Late 70s, right? When we switched over to the metric system, where it became law that you had these measurements, right? And it became law at that time. Oh, those big black clouds just bypassed us. It doesn't look darker. It actually looks lighter in this moment. They're small clouds, but they're very sporadic in the light gray ones. So I hope oh, they said 9 o'clock. So we got another half an hour before that rain starts. It looks like it might be spitting out there a little bit. I don't see it on the windows or anything yet, but yeah, it's really hot, and I suspect with thunder and lightning tonight, that would be a tornado. But we're not in a tornado alley. We do on occasion get tornadoes here in Manitoba, only because right we have a lot of agriculture here and a lot of fields, right? So easy touchdown, but we all know tornadoes could drop down in a city just as easily as a farm field, right? But in a farm field, it's less likely that somebody's going to get hurt by that too. Pretty exciting, eh, you guys? Paying for my camping spots. As of tomorrow, itinerary, it is set, right? In the way of where I'm staying, the campsite, the campground, what day, for how long. Now, what I need to go is to see what each park has to offer that might reward my audience. And right, I have to make sure that I get footage of every every park that I'm in. So I know I have at least 10 explorers, but we're digging for Herkimer diamonds. I'll be on the road, so y'all get those rest stops and those, right? You guys know I'll be cleaning up rest stops, and I don't know how bad the American Canadians ones are going to be. Oh, you guys! Did you see that excitement? So exciting, you guys. It's starting hard. It didn't start with a few drip, drip, drips. It just right away went into flood the street mode. Wow, you guys, I wish you could see this. The trees are going absolutely crazy. Yeah, this is exciting. Okay, back to my life. Okay, oh, that's good news, Andrew. Absolutely amazing that you can stay at the very least comfortable. And I'm just keeping an eye on the temperature because I have the temperature on my PC monitor too. So I'll just keep an eye on the temperature, and then what I'll do is I'll open up the. I probably can't open up the window, you guys, because the rain is coming towards me. Very rarely, right? It hits my windows, um, and they just sent the window cleaners here to clean our windows too, and and so my windows will probably be streaky. Wow, I can barely see out. I can't even turn the laptop around, you guys, so that you guys can see, because the last time I did that, it ended my live show. So I don't want to take that chance. Um, but yeah, it's pretty crazy out there, and the streets are flooding already. Now, for me, what I get worried about is the trees. There's one tree across the street. I feel so bad because of the height that I live in my apartment. I'm right in the midst of seeing into the trees, right? And the tree in front of me, but across the street, has got Dutch elm disease, and so it's on, and it always starts at the top branches, and it's very recognizable that it's there. But because I'm same level, I can see it, and when I look over, I can see all the other branches that have lost all their leaves. It's because with the Dutch elm disease, it's these beetles, right? That get into the trees, and what happens is the trees can't absorb water. So what they do is they drown. And it raining right now, um, those leaves are getting water. They're being revived, right? Because we've had a lot of water, a lot of rain in the past month. But remember when I did my winter fort videos, and then I went out at the spring. I went out in spring, and and I felt so terrible because all those trees that we had cut down to make the fort had all bloomed on the dead trees. They were all blooming. So the only way that the tree can't survive, the tree's dead. The tree's been cut, right? But those small buds and branches, they were trying to survive, right? And I felt so terrible, and that's what's going on with the rain right now, because the leaves can get water now, right? Because the leaves will absorb what they need to survive, but the branches, they don't absorb. They're not absorbing water from the ground. They're not. It's not absorbing water from the rain, um, um, and right, the leaves will revive. The bare branches, those are dead. Those aren't gonna come back. It's only gonna get worse. But usually here in the city of Winnipeg, they don't let that go for very long. So what they do is they'll mark it right away as Dutch elm, and then in the fall, when all the leaves fall off the trees, right? When all the leaves fall off the trees, because it lessens the transmission of that contamination, because it's a very contagious kind of problem, right? Once it's in one tree, it's why they got to cut it down. And the guys will cut it down, and then the grinder truck, it's a big truck like those trucks that come in to turn your Christmas trees into wood chips. It's kind of something like that. And they cut the tree. They have a big machine on a crane that just slices like 6 feet at a time and goes all the way down 6 feet at a time, 6 feet at a time. And then another machine comes in like a cat and picks up the branches and takes it to the other machine, and then grinds the the tree trunks and the tree branches into sawdust. And then what they do is they oh, hail! We got hail! Have a good night, William. Have a great night. If you think of it, give Nancy a message and wish her happy birthday. If anybody wanted to message Nancy, she's probably celebrating her birthday tonight. I know she was making some YouTube videos today. But yeah, if you have an opportunity to get in touch with Nancy at all, or if Nancy comes into the live, be sure to wish her a happy birthday. Have a good night. Have a good night, William. That was pretty good. The hail stopped. Yeah, it was coming up against the window. The hail. That's a good storm when you've got hail. And the sun. See the sun on me? It's peeking through these little blue clouds in between the big black clouds. So in this moment, it's like being in the eye of the storm, right? The rain might even stop, but it's still full force. See how long it's going to rain for now. Um, that's going to help to cool it down here, and once the rain settles down a little bit, then I'll open up my windows, because right now if I open up my windows, it's just going to rain It's just going to rain into my apartment. So it's over. And then it starts up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Maybe I should have drink my water so I have Charlie horses and wake up for my storm. I'm gonna miss the storm. Oh no, it's still. Oh no, I'm gonna miss the storm. It's all happening in the middle of the night. It's all happening in the middle of the night. This is it. Yeah, that's why we're getting the God rays now because the storm was over. Well, that was the fun. That was the fun. I was looking forward to that. Now I'll just look forward to my dinner. I stopped off because I knew I was going to be tired coming home today, being the last day of the work week. That I stopped off at my favorite Chinese food restaurant and I grabbed some bread and veal. And I came home and I chowed down on my bread and veal, but I didn't eat it all. I think I got a half a container left, so I'm going to have bread and veal for supper tonight, right? I'm going to have a good sleepy. My house, oh no, I got to do laundry tonight. I said I was going to do laundry tonight, but that's okay because I have to go in and make sure, double check all my camping spots that my picks are still there, right? And if not, then I have to get my third choices in line, and I won't bother, right, trying to book something tomorrow that's already been rented out. Hopefully, right? I know I lost one of the spots that I wanted, only because I didn't pay for my spots yet. But I am optimistic. I haven't gone back into um, my plans for my trip since I went back to work because I like to give all that energy to work. And when I came home at night, I really, really don't have too much left inside of me. In all truth, I just like a potato. In all truth, but a pretty absorbing potato because, right, I like to sit here taking the lessons and take in a metal detecting video, right? See who's doing what, have an opinion, talk to, have these little conversations and little back and forth with somebody else's idea in the moment. I do that every once in a while. It's right. It is what it is. Okay, you guys. Everybody is quiet tonight. This heat is getting. How hot did it get, Kathy? Where you are now? How hot did it get? You said it was very hot, but you didn't say what the temperature was. I think here in Winnipeg, I think it got to 32 degrees today. I'm just going to double check on that one too. Severe thunderstorm warning. Um, hmm. Yeah, so it looked like the hottest that it got today was what it is right now, which is 28 degrees. Oh, yeah, 30 degrees. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure. I didn't check earlier what the temperature was, but I'm thinking probably we were around the same temperature. But you would have lots of humidity, Kathy. That 30 degrees must have felt like something else. But you have hills and valleys and little mountains and stuff. Does that offer up some wind? Does that offer up for nice breezes in the all in the evening to, right? Because I know, like here in Winnipeg, if you go downtown, because of the skyscrapers downtown, they're kind of like mountains. And then if it's a windy day, it gets super windy down there because everything is maneuvering around and over and under these skyscrapers downtown. Oh, on the coast. Oh, 30 degrees. It made it to 30 degrees on the coast. That's too hot for me. That's too hot for me. I would have been amazing in the Ice Age. I would have rocked the Ice Age. I would have been in my little fur diaper and I would have been out there hunting mammoths for sure. That's, I just had that visual of me doing that. I just had a visual of me doing that. Um, Andrew says, here in south central Indiana, the air is awfully completely still. Oh, I wouldn't like that, Andrew. Oh, I wouldn't like that. That's like sucking breath, right? When there's no movement in the air. But then again, you're like me, Andrew, with the fan that you like that you make that own movement in your own apartment with your fan going. I don't usually put my fan on a rotation where it goes back and forth. I usually just leave it directional, but I do like that air movement. You can see there's a lot of air movement going on in here today. I am trying to stay comfortable and I'm managing okay. And after my live show, I'm going to put on pair of my short pajamas and I'm going to take off my jeans, right? I'm going to get myself comfortable, mhm, eat my veal, work on my camping trip, do my laundry, and then tomorrow spend it with my sister and my friend Crystal. And we're going to go out thrifting. Yeah. My sister, she says all the time that I should come with her to Cuba or to Mexico. I just can't do that heat. That's not vacation for me. Oh, not unless I was doing maybe the Amazon jungle, right? But for that adventure, I would sacrifice a little bit of my comfortability. I would have to, right? Right? It's South America. Um, that would be incredible to be able to go check out one of those Aztec nations. It would be fun. Maybe one year. I have no idea. I'm thinking Scotland, you guys, for next September. I have to check to see what kind of crystals and rocks and minerals Scotland has, and then and see what kind of trip that I can do. I know there's a pilgrimage, a religious pilgrimage, where you can walk for a few days and get to see some beautiful landscapes in the process. I might do something like that. Wouldn't mind going to Loch Ness. I wouldn't mind going to see some castles, and I wouldn't mind going to see my friend Eamson, right, from Exploring in Me. Do any of you guys remember my friend? Yeah, and he's always been inviting me. He lives in Belgium, right? But he was an urban explorer. He's not doing the urban exploring like he used to because he has some very serious arthritis. Arthritis that's so bad that you have to take medicinal morphine for that. So he's on morphine for the pain. Yeah, it's really unfortunate, right? I'm grateful that I just suffer with the odd the Charlie horse on the norm, right? Grateful for that. Okay, Debbie's here. Hi, even right now at 8:42 p.m., it's still too hot for me in River Heights. Oh, we had a couple of bursts of rain just a minute ago, but now it looks like it's all gone. I was just saying that, Debbie, how bad uh, it is in this humidity, number one, but I've had my mop and pail beside my air conditioner. My air conditioner sitting in a boot pan to catch all the water, and I've been mopping up water for 2 days out of my air conditioner. Like I said, my air conditioner is trying, but It's not comfy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nancy. Happy birthday to you. And happy birthday, Kathy. I know yours is coming up. I have to check my book because I think yours is after Nancy or after Nancy's birthday. Right? Oh, I'm so glad that I would have felt terrible, Nancy, if I didn't remember that it was your birthday. Are you having a good day? I know you're probably celebrating for a couple of days. Um, right? Nancy's a birthday girl. Can I ask how old you are now, Nancy? And we were just talking about weather too. Let us know, how are you managing, Nancy, today? I know the 15th, right? Yeah, but I'll have to go. 57. Oh my goodness. You're just a spring chicken. Yeah, 57. That was a crazy year for me. 56? Okay. It won't be a crazy year for you then. Maybe next year will be your crazy year. Mind you, you have crazy years every year, don't you, Nancy? Yeah. That world likes to push back against Nancy. That's for sure. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we were just saying how hot it is. And everybody seems to be, right, dealing with the heat right now. How is it in Seattle, Nancy? How's the weather tonight in Seattle? Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, it is hot there too, eh, Nancy? We are at it's dropped a couple degrees. That rain has dropped the temperature a little bit. I think it's still a little bit too hot to open up the window. There isn't really a breeze. The only wind was in that storm, and there looks like a few more clouds, but I don't think that coverage is going to drop anything else on us for a few hours for sure. Right. But it would be nice if it cooled down a little bit. I know my cat now is a little bit too hot because now she's jumped up into the bed. And because my air conditioner is specifically directed in that sleeping area of mine, it kind of gets trapped in there and it's very comfortable. Before my live, instead of splashing water on my face and refreshing, I went and I sat on my bed and just enjoyed how cool it was over there, right? And it makes it so that I can sleep at night. And the fan too, the fan over my head. I got that fan 2 feet away from my face, and it is super, super comfortable that way. And I can always kick off my blankets in the middle of the night, and I can get up, right, and walk off a Charlie horse or wake up to a big flash of lightning, a big bolt, or right, some thunder that wakes me up from my sleep, and I can get up, make myself a cup of coffee, look out my window, and in the pitch black, I won't even turn my lights on. I would just sit here in the pitch black and enjoy the storm. I don't think it's quite done with us. In all honesty, you guys, it looks like we're gonna might get a round two. Debbie, if you're still there, it looks like we just might get a round two. I know you're up in River Heights. You're a little bit more west than I am. I'm more in Osborne Village here, but I do believe we are going to get a little bit more. Maybe if it's just sprinkles or something, I'd be good. I would be good with the sprinkles. And I would even be good with just the temperature dropping by a degree here and there, right? And just get it to that level where my air conditioner can take over and I can have a good sleep in tonight. Be all rested to get right back at it tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going thrifting with my sister and my friend. We have a little route that we like to do. We like to do the here's a good story. I was going to say we like to do the cordon store, but that's one of our thrift stores, Salvation Army on Cordon, right? And a gentleman, one of my regular customers, he's a reseller. So in the morning, he's usually at the store pretty earlier, so he can have first look and first dibs on what's being put out for jewelry. And he came in today and he pulled up some pictures off of his phone and he says, "Cindy," he says, "let me show you something." It's me and my sister's favorite store in the city. It's the little Salvation Army store, and it's on Cordon, is the avenue, right? One of the busy streets. And we make special trips there. It's always a store when we go thrifting. We always go there. And he went in there, and for $49, he bought a solid gold watch from the 1700s. It had an enamel front. It was like almost like a cuckoo clock, a cross between a cuckoo clock and a pocket watch. You know those beautiful faces that they have on cuckoo clocks? It was kind of like that with the enamel, and then it had the gold pressed gold case, and then right like the pocket watch, but it was only tiny. It was a very very small pocket watch, so it was probably had a space for a little pendant. I didn't take a close look at the picture, but he bought it for $49. That very same night, he listed that watch. Listen to this, you guys. He listed that watch for $14,000. He got it for $49. Somebody messaged him and offered him $12,000, and he took it. $12,000. He was so happy. So, of course, right, and I don't do it to be mean or anything, right? But just to let my sister know about missed opportunities when she says, because she's such a procrastinator when it comes to getting out and doing business. She loves thrifting, right? It's her desire, it's her life, it's her passion. But sometimes, right, being that highly sensitive, coming from that dynamic family that we came from, she gets begged too, where she can't even move. And she's a waitress in a restaurant. She's a supervisor slash waitress in a restaurant. It's the best kind of right supervisor to be when you be a slash server, right? Because the server is where the money is at, and she loves that job and she doesn't give it up, but it's hard work, right? We are getting a little bit more mature and we have to slow down. And so I gave her some advice this past year about, is there any way you can cut back one more one more day on your schedule? I was able to get her to cut back to 4 days a week, like I do, work 4 days a week. But with me, there's shorter shifts. There's 6 and 7 hour shifts that I do, right? So I asked her, can you cut it back a day? That will help you, right? You won't complain that you're missing out on your life. You can pick the busy days that you want to work because you're the supervisor, right? And just pick those big money making days as your shifts, and then just make up the difference in what your passion is, which is thrifting, right? And so she did that. We went last week, and we always have these great conversations. She was talking about her job and everything. And she's been picking up some extra shifts because people are going on holidays and stuff in the summer and getting sick. And, right? She's being responsible. She's being the team player. But she told her boss that, right, when she's done with this, that she wants to be put down to 3 days a week. Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And she can do that too because she's invested in her entrepreneurship so that she'll just put that time that she's missing in that job, she'll just apply it to her business and she'll make up that money easily in what she does. But we are thrifting tomorrow. I'm not going to stay up too late tonight. I am right? We're going to call the live show and end. So we're going to say our goodbye today, only because I guess you guys could tell a little bit. I'm bagged. I'm always bagged. My last day in the job that puts the roof over my head because that's the pretty stuff, right? On Sundays, that's the gravy, the sprinkles, right? That's the dazzle and amaze. That's the pride in my job. So I do an extra good job so that the managers, when they come in and start their work week on Monday, it's beautiful. And it's not my responsibility to do that. I'm learning, right? To let go a hold of those shifts, the weekend shifts. But nobody's really asking me to give them up. But at the same time, that credit for getting that job done is not going to the right it's not going to the right source, right? So I have to pull myself away realizing that I am not the boss on that shift. But the pride in my job makes me want to do a good job. And I want my boss to start their work week off on a good footing, right? Good footing. Because it's that moment of opportunity that possibly the rest of her week could follow suit, right? Right? At the very least, no grumbles because we all worked hard. I thought it looked amazing in there when we left today. Was it perfect? Oh, we probably missed a few things, but I think possibly it might be overlooked at all the dazzling amaze and sprinkle and gravy that we all added to the mix today. You guys, that's my live show. Thank you so much. I have a pretty crazy staff bucket. So next week, you guys, it's going to be kind of maybe pretty close to my last staff charges. I picked up some things I shouldn't have picked up. Well, I should have picked up because they were such great deals. But like my dad said, if my mother came home with a $500 fur coat, right? Maybe you did save $10,000 on that coat and got it on sale for $500. But that's still the milk on the kids' cereal for the next year, right? So I have to take that in consideration because I am in that, right? Planning and getting things done, right? We're getting close. We're getting close to the end of the project of what's my good cheer of 54 powerful words. We are going into 47 words. If you want to come and hang out sometime tomorrow evening, because I'll be all out all day tomorrow with my sister and my friend Crystal. You guys, that's my live show on the dot tonight, leaving, even if I wasn't on the dot coming in. I'm sure you guys will forgive me. I am going to empty the water in my air conditioner and see if I can get my apartment down a couple of more degrees. And if I can't, I'm just going to open up these windows and let the fresh air in. Everybody, have a great night. And we'll see you next week for show and tell. Bye bye. Happy birthday again, Nancy. Happy birthday.